is an assistant professor at Michigan State University and a Yemeni activist, joins us on Skype from Lansing, Michigan. Good to have you with us. So, if these pictures are credible and true, how much of a blow is this for Saudi Arabia?
Well, it's incredibly embarrassing for the Saudis, given how much support they have from not only the UAE, of course, but also the United States, the UK, and several other countries. And they've been waging this war for 4.5 years with all of this military support. And the Houthis, who don't even have an air force, to have some missiles and drones, but mostly soldiers on the ground, if they're able to take over so much Saudi territory and bring back so many prisoners and capture weapons, then it would be highly embarrassing. And it follows a recent attack, which the Houthis also claimed on Aramco.
The pictures purport to show Saudi soldiers being taken captive inside Saudi Arabia. How significant is that?
Well, as your correspondent said, over the last 4.5 years, the Yemenis, the Houthis, have been kind of going into Saudi territory at the northern Yemeni border, the southern Saudi border. But they usually, attack and come back. If they're able to carry out this level of operation, either over the last several hours or over the last couple of months, then I think it poses a significant turn in this war. Perhaps the Saudis will start seeing them as capable of fighting back in this largely unilateral war, which has been the case over the last 4.5 years. If they see that the Houthis are actually able to inflict harm, then maybe that would be moving, this whole battle forward and coming to the negotiating table with a little bit more even-handedness.
Oh, well, that segues nicely to what I was going to ask you. How does this perhaps change the balance of power and leveraging in those peace talks?
Right. So after the Aramco attacks on September 14th, which the Houthis claimed came from them and the Saudis claimed came from Iran, there's not been independent verification either way. But after those attacks, the Houthis announced that they're willing to stop all further attacks into Saudi Arabia, and if the Saudis were willing to end the war. And then in the coming days, Saudi attacked two separate airstrikes that killed several dozens of people in Yemen, innocent civilians, in Najran and Al-Dala. So if the Houthis are now fighting back, and if they're able to take this much, weaponry and prisoners, these many prisoners, then perhaps they're able to negotiate with the Saudis. Perhaps the Saudis we'll start to see them as, a threat, and maybe that would change the outcome of the war.
Is there, do you think, a feeling that the whole Saudi-led alliance is cracking now? We've had tensions with the UAE. We've had, perhaps, shall we say, second thoughts from the new government in Khartoum in Sudan about the role of their soldiers there.
Well, this has been a completely aimless war over the last 4.5 years. The Saudis attacked, saying that this was going to be an operation that wouldn't last more than a few weeks. And here we are 4.5 years later. And the Saudis, of course, have spent a lot of money on this. They've been spending hundreds of billions of dollars on weaponry, on training, and all of these things. And Yemenis have paid the price. Yemeni civilians have paid the price. Over 100,000 people have been killed in the violence. At least 85,000 children between the ages of 0 and 5 have starved to death. And so the war has been nothing but a humanitarian catastrophe. And but it's also been, completely aimless. What are the Saudis and Emiratis hoping to gain out of Yemen? I think they've seen that Yemenis are not willing to surrender. The Houthis are certainly not willing to surrender to them. And so dragging this war further, and there have been cracks within the coalition itself, with the Emiratis supporting the southern separatists, it just seems to be going nowhere and creating more chaos.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for your thoughts and analysis on